Welcome back to TheBiringPodcast. Today we got tragic plane crashes that happened in Washington, D.C. and in Philadelphia.
Yeah, honestly, we were planning a trip to the States soon. I don't know how I feel about flying there anymore.
Planes don't seem so safe. Then we got Trump's tariffs. He finally imposed them and Trudeau responded.
I'm getting tired of these tariffs, but they are here, so we can move forward. Get ready for a bumpy ride.
Then we got China's Deepseek.
So is this thing better than ChatGPT?
I don't know, but it seems like it shook up the entire tech industry.
That's true.
Then we got Canada's Liberal Party is concerned with being targets of conspiracy theories.
I think there's other things that they should be concerned about.
After all that, what do we have for off topic?
We'll talk about DeRozan and Lowry potentially retiring as Raptors, and Selena Gomez crying over the immigration raids, and many more.
And then stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and go follow us on Instagram at TheBiringPodcast. So let's start with these plane crashes. If you haven't heard by now, it's a tragic event. A military helicopter collided with American Airlines Flight 5342, and here's a clip of the collision.
60 passengers and 4 crew members collided midair with an Army helicopter. It happened near Reagan Airport in Washington, D.C. around 9 p.m. Eastern last night. The U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter was carrying 3 people on board. The 2 aircraft crashed into the Potomac River, which of course runs through the heart of Washington, Maryland, Virginia, all bunched together with the Potomac running right through it. So far, at least 28 bodies have been pulled from the icy water. And as I mentioned, that initial massive search and rescue operation, now a recovery operation. The body of the plane was found upside down in 3 sections. According to the initial response, the wreckage of the helicopter was also found.
I think 67 people were on board and they all died.
Yeah, 3 on the helicopter.
Yeah.
The 67 and
Yeah.
64 on the plane.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's the plane was cleared to land. It was a clear day.
Mm. It was during the night.
A clear night.
Yeah.
I mean, but the skies were clear.
Yeah.
Just perfectly normal flight. It was coming from Kansas to DC.
Yeah.
It's a pretty regular flight. That's like the Canada, you're going from BC to Ontario or something like that. It's
Yeah.
a regular flight that people do all the time.
Apparently, helicopters aren't supposed to fly above 200 feet by the Potomac River.
Yeah.
And that plane, from what they're saying, was flying at 400 feet when they collided.
It was, yeah.
So clearly, this helicopter was flying higher than it should have been, right?
But they were training, right?
I don't know if it was exactly a training thing. I did read that they were training, but like I don't even know if they released the pilot's names or anything yet.
Yeah, a lot of it they're still investigating, so they haven't.
Yeah, I think they pulled out like the black boxes and everything.
Yeah.
But like I think because of where it is in DC, like there's a lot of restrictions they have on helicopters and stuff, right? Like it's a very busy airspace from anything that I've read, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously I'm not an aviation expert or anything, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the weird thing about it was, I don't know if you guys read or saw that one of the air traffic controllers left early.
Oh, no.
You didn't read that?
No.
So apparently one of the air traffic controllers, they left early, and the one that replaced him, the one that left was only working on helicopters, and the one that replaced him was working on helicopters and planes.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And then, but they're saying that it's not guaranteed that this same air traffic controller was working on both of the helicopter and plane.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird on the day that this person, but they were cleared by their supervisor to leave.
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
not like they just left.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are saying maybe it has something to do with that they're short staffed and
Yeah.
they've always been. So I don't know. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of blame going around too. I think Trump on day one, he fired a bunch of people.
Yeah, I heard that.
And he froze the hiring and stuff of a lot of the air traffic controls.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of just blaming him. There's a lot of that.
A lot of things too, like the air traffic controller warned them a couple times, and
Yeah.
then they still managed to be that route towards the plane. So like, I'm not really sure what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, it's just like, how doesn't that, like, there's air traffic
pilot
control
see,
for
right?
sure, right? Yeah.
Right.
The plane is a lot less maneuverable than a helicopter, right?
Yeah.
And how doesn't somebody driving that, or sorry, flying that,
Yeah.
see a massive plane?
Yeah.
You
Well,
just keep ascending towards it?
that's the thing. If they were being trained, even if they were being trained, there's 3 people in there, so somebody's
Right.
doing the training.
Right.
You
Well, like I don't know how it is to fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
But, like if the person is training, because I had also read that the person that was actually flying
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of hours under their belt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether that's true or not. It's like alleged. So what if it was like they were headed and they couldn't move? Like they weren't able to.
Yeah.
So it's not like they didn't see it. I don't know. This is all
For
what
sure.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It seems like it's either like an air traffic control thing where there was some sort of miscommunication there. So if they're short staffed, obviously that's going to get highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
Or it seems like what you're saying, that there's not enough experience on the
That they
pilot's
saw
part.
it,
Yeah, that they
but
saw it.
couldn't do anything about
Yeah.
it. But then I've also heard so many things about how it's a terrorist attack. or-
Yeah. There's a lot of
I mean,
speculations.
if it was something like that, they would have released it really quickly and said that they didn't know what was going on. They
Yeah.
recovered both the black boxes, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, imagine the helicopter colliding and everyone pretty much dying instantly.
Seems
right.
like on impact. Definitely like everyone, even if you didn't, it's above the river. It's a freezing cold river.
I mean, there was like, I feel like there was like an ice skating team or was
So many ice skaters were on that plane.
Right.
So like 13 of them, like ranging from so many ages to like young and old.
yeah.
It's weird.
I think I even saw a picture of like was it like a 13-year-old coming back from
Yeah, that was the youngest person on the flight so far that they found. She was 12 years old.
Yeah.
She was with her mom. They like, I just saw a picture. They recently went to Disney.
Disney, like, yeah. I
Yeah.
saw that too.
Yeah.
No, that's rough.
Devastating.
I think we have a video of a guy whose wife also was on the flight and he's distraught.
Praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak. That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
However, he says that his reply never got delivered.
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered. That's when I realized something might be waiting. And I started seeing a bunch of EMS vehicles speeding past me, like way too many than normal. And 2, my texts weren't going through. Life is short. Hug your loved ones. Tell them you love them. When they're getting on a flight, check up on them. Text
That's
your
sad,
family.
man.
So sad.
Good for him. He's keeping it together. I'd be a wreck, man.
Yeah, at that
Also-
moment, did he know that she died?
Like in the after he did, in the second part, I think
he
I don't
went
know
on
about
TV?
dad. Huh?
And he went on TV to
Yeah,
do
both
an
times he
interview?
did. Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of wild.
Yeah, he seems pretty collected for a person, but
So collected.
maybe he's in shock, right? Like, you
a
don't
lot
know.
of people handle trauma differently.
Yeah, I mean, the message though, like, yeah, I feel like life is a little bit short. You never know, in an instant,
Yeah.
right? Things can change and you can lose somebody you really care about, right? So, I mean, it's hard. I feel like sometimes everyone gets caught up in a lot of these things where,
Things that don't matter.
yeah, you get angry about them, you get emotional about them, and then you never know if somebody you really care about, holding grudges for too long or being angry for too long. It's not worth it, right?
For sure.
Definitely agree with his message, and obviously to the families that are mourning the loss of anyone that was on that plane,
Yeah.
it's pretty rough, right?
Yeah, it just seems like something that could have been avoided.
It just seems really weird.
It's
Like
so weird. They were like so close to landing with seconds, I heard.
they were
10
cleared
to
to
20
land.
seconds.
Yeah,
away.
they were cleared to
Well, the
land.
fact that she even got cell service, I don't know if she had Wi-Fi on the plane.
She probably did.
She probably did.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking like we were close enough.
That you're that
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even with that, did you guys hear the audio recording of the guy?
No.
So he basically says that, like, I had it, but I'm not going to include it. It's hard to
Right. It's not
understand, right?
Audible.
Audible. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that audible. But he was like, the plane's cleared to land. He asked the helicopter to pass behind the plane,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just gasps.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, did you guys just see that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's rough. I don't know. So somebody didn't hear the air traffic controller
Something
somewhere
went
there,
wrong
right?
there.
Yeah. Please like and subscribe, as it really does help the podcast out tremendously. Let's get back to the part. I mean, I think you're gonna look for answers. I even saw like people were like to Trump because I think he tweeted something about like what could have gone wrong. Something definitely happened.
Yeah,
There's no
he's
way you
just-
could have missed the airplane. People are like, why isn't he giving his condolences or whatever,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you can try to make this as political as you want. Like even him not, firing all those people. To my knowledge, a lot of that is just like standard routine stuff whenever you come into office and stuff. And air traffic controls have been understaffed. This isn't like the first time it's been acknowledged. Apparently, they have like a rigorous hiring process, and it's not something that's like so easy to get that job, right?
It's a tough job too.
That's a lot of
to get. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
pressure, hours.
Hours.
Yeah. I would assume. Yeah, I mean, we can point fingers at a lot of people, but I feel like it does. I don't know, all these plane crashes that happened before too that we saw, right?
Isn't Trump saying like he just blames the Biden administration? Like,
Yeah, first he did that. Then
what was the point of doing that?
That is just dumb, right? Like a tragic plane crash happened.
Biden do?
he's just making it political immediately. Like, just let it breathe for a little bit. Like,
So many people lost their lives.
I mean,
pretty insensitive.
Yeah, because I think a part of it is like you're the president, right? Like, so you should acknowledge that some people died.
For sure.
Right?
He
Like
eventually
people-
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but also some people, how they deal with problems, like a lot of the times, for me personally, it's not like I'm cold hearted or anything, but whenever I'm faced with a problem, my immediate reaction is, how do I solve this?
Yeah.
What went wrong? How do I solve this? Right.
Yeah.
So maybe he's one of those, maybe he's not. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Right. Or maybe he's playing a political game. Who knows? Right. But at the end of the day, these people did lose their life, and that's never easy for anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
But when he first publicly spoke about it, he blamed DEI.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said what it was like, people that are physically and intellectually
Incapable.
That's like what he said.
Yeah. I mean,
The pilot
did at that point, did we even know who the pilot was, if the pilot was a minority or anybody?
No, it's come to light now. He's white.
He was
Pilot
white.
was white.
And the air traffic controller,
I don't know about that.
right? So like, I mean, if he didn't have all the facts and you're just going to blame
Even
DEI,
the people in the helicopter, I'm pretty sure that the person flying was white as well. It was
Yeah.
female though, but yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And the pilot had 6 years experience. Co-pilot had 2.
I mean, when you see that, it doesn't seem like the plane's at fault. I mean, they have black boxes for
Yeah,
both
yeah.
things. So you're going to get, it's either going to be a communication thing, or it's going to be the helicopter wasn't, I don't know. What else could have gone wrong there, right?
Could just, I would theorize it's a combination of the two, right? The helicopters, they're getting trained, and then some miscommunication. It's just completely avoidable, and it's unfortunate.
But
Yeah.
how is that appropriate to just go in public and say, oh, the reason it was because it was a DEI hire, and then just kind of double down on that when people are trying to say like, oh, why are you blaming it on that? And he was like, oh, because I have common sense. But
That's what he said, right?
Yeah.
I have common sense. It's pretty tone deaf.
I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
That's kind of his whole shtick, right? That's what
It is, but he's also one of those. So, like, if this wasn't a Trump presidency, right? If this was like Biden, or if it's Obama, or if it's whoever, right?
Yeah.
Typically, you'll get like somebody who's running your press, and they'll come up with a statement, and then you'll come and you'll address it publicly or whatever, right? This guy just tweets things,
Yeah, yeah.
right, and puts them on True Social or whatever, right? So he says 100 things a day, right? So whenever something happens, that's probably his knee-jerk reaction. He's just saying it,
Yeah.
right? Like, you can disagree with what he's saying. I do think that he should have been. You got to acknowledge that people died
For sure.
right off the bat, right, and then deal with the mess afterwards.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, everything he's saying about DEI and Biden and shit, like, was that the time for it? Like, you've already won,
Yeah.
right? Like, just look at,
Take your win, man.
right?
I feel like it's just a very dangerous narrative to try to perpetuate, especially when you have such a big platform that people are going to you to
Yeah.
understand, have their questions answered, and then you're saying this, but it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
But
Everyone's just gonna start like it's just spewing more negative hate.
For sure.
I didn't disagree with the fact that he was saying there's no way that the helicopter could have seen the plane. Like he was saying that the helicopter should have seen the plane, and somebody's definitely wrong and stuff. So bringing light to that, I didn't disagree with that. But yeah, the other shit, I think is just a little bit too extra, right? Like just leave that shit out of it. People died, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, as if one plane crash wasn't enough, another one happened in Philadelphia, and here's a clip of that.
That's crazy. That's a Ring doorbell. Oh shit! Yeah, the footage from this is crazy.
That looks like a bomb being set off.
The guy he thought they were being attacked.
That's what it looks like, man. Yeah. This was a smaller plane, though, right?
That's wild. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's right around the neighborhood.
Yeah, imagine being in a parking lot like that and you just see this go off. Wouldn't you think that the country's under attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's people started freaking out.
Oh God. Oh my God.
So this one took the life of 7 people.
Yeah.
I think 6 on the plane and 1 in a car. Right. And
somebody in a car too.
Yeah.
The debris, I guess.
And apparently the area of impact was somewhere around 4 to 6 blocks. So the debris just fell everywhere. And I think like from that, it looks like a bunch of houses were on fire, right?
Yeah.
And apparently there was a child on board who.
No.
What happened with it?
Yeah, so she was just receiving life-saving treatment.
Yeah.
They're from Mexico, so then they were just on their way home after receiving that. Like they were going.
Oh,
from
it was
the
like
hospital.
a medevac.
It was like an air ambulance.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. I mean, I did also read that the plane was falling at 11,000 feet per second, was basically just in the air for a minute.
Wow.
The entire flight lasted about a minute. I think I actually have something here in an article. The plane took off just after 6 p.m. Eastern and reached 1650 feet above before plunging, according to data from ADS-B Exchange. The data shows the final speed of descent was 11,000 feet per minute. The entire flight lasted less than a minute, Ralph Hicks, a senior NTSB investigator, said Saturday. So imagine that.
That's crazy.
You just get on a plane.
As to why, like they don't know, like it was a landing.
No,
like, they don't know anything. Right?
This has nothing to do with the landing.
There's nothing around either.
It's on its way up.
Yeah, it's on its way up, and then it nosedives.
That's probably
So
mechanical,
scary.
right?
Yeah.
Something wrong with it.
Yeah, or something happened to the pilot, and just
I don't know.
That's wild.
It's too much, man.
Yeah.
We talked about like 3 of them before.
Right?
Yeah, I think in December, was it? Like around Christmas, we had 3 plane crashes or like events, like ones where they're landing gear.
Like
right, one of them was a crash. Yeah, in different countries, obviously. But then this happens where within, a day apart or so, something like that?
I think even yesterday or today, there was a flight going into Vancouver or coming from Vancouver, and the turbulence was so crazy that 2 of the flight attendants had to go to the hospital.
Oh, I saw something like that.
Yeah.
See, it makes you not want to fly.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
I feel like
I don't know if it's social media or like this is happening more.
It seems like it is, no?
But when would you hear, like, I don't even remember hearing planes falling on houses.
No.
Like, imagine one person died in a car. Imagine sitting in your car and a plane falls on you.
Even the Potomac one.
Yeah.
If that was over the road.
Yeah.
And you're about to like land. Imagine that. Like you're like, okay, I can see.
Yeah, that's the end.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, man. It definitely, flying isn't the same as it used to be.
Not right now. It doesn't feel that way.
It feels like there's
like a local flight.
Yeah.
You think it's a couple hours.
Yeah. You get this false
Not like
sense,
you're going to Australia or something.
Yeah.
right? You get this false sense that you're safe or something, and then it doesn't. It just goes the other way.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Let's move on to these Trump tariffs. So Trump's been talking about these tariffs for a while now.
Yeah.
It's his favorite word. He was even on Rogan saying it's better than love, right? So here's a video of Trump saying why he's imposing the tariffs, and then his nominee for Commerce Secretary saying that they could be avoided.
I'll be announcing the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a number of reasons. Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits. And I'll be putting the tariff of 25% on Canada and separately 25% on Mexico. And we will really have to do that because we have very big deficits with those countries. Those tariffs may or may not rise with time.
Will oil be part of that, though? Because we get oil from Canada.
Oil is going to have nothing to do with it as far as I'm concerned. Oil has nothing to do with it.
Shut your border and stop allowing fentanyl into our country, killing our people. So this is a separate tariff to create action from Mexico and action from Canada. And as far as I know, they are acting swiftly. And if they execute it, there will be no tariff. And if they don't, then there will be. But it's an action-oriented model.
Well, he was talking about these tariffs forever, but they are finally here. He did actually tweet something. Today, I have implemented a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, 10% on energy, an additional 10% tariff on China. This was done through the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, because of a major threat of illegal aliens and deadly drugs killing our citizens, including fentanyl. We need to protect Americans, and it is my duty as president to ensure the safety of all. I made a promise on my campaign to stop the flood of illegal aliens and drugs from pouring across our borders, and Americans overwhelmingly voted in favor of it.
Yeah. And then after he said that, then Trudeau just responded in a press conference that he held on Saturday night.
Less than 1% of fentanyl, less than 1% of illegal crossings into the United States come from Canada. But hearing concerns from both Canadians and Americans, including the American president himself, we're taking action. We launched a $1.3 billion border plan that is already showing results, because we too are devastated by the scourge that is fentanyl. Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods. This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives. Like the American tariffs, our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon, fruits and fruit juices, including orange juice, along with vegetables, perfume, clothing, and shoes. It'll include major consumer products like household appliances, furniture, and sports equipment, and materials like lumber and plastics, along with much, much more. And now is also the time to choose Canada. There are many ways for you to do your part. It might mean checking the labels at the supermarket and picking Canadian-made products. It might mean opting for Canadian rye over Kentucky bourbon, or foregoing Florida orange juice altogether. It might mean changing your summer vacation plans to stay here in Canada and explore the many national and provincial parks, historical sites, and tourist destinations our great country has to offer.
Damn. We actually responded.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like everyone understands what a tariff is and what's going on, right? I think the conversation more so has shifted to why.
Yeah.
What the hell's the point of this trade war?
It's what a lot of people feel like. It's a war that never really needed to exist.
Yeah.
Even Trudeau mentioned there that only 1% of fentanyl crosses the border.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he keeps citing. That's what he called this a national emergency so that he could impose the tariffs. That was his excuse for it.
That's what I was gonna say. Doesn't it more and more make it seem like to you guys that he's doing it as an excuse? Like he just used this border thing and migrants and fentanyl as an excuse.
He's just holding on to it.
Yeah, just so he can just say the USMCA is like worthless and now he gets to do this.
Yeah.
Right, as an emergency act or whatever he called it, right?
Yeah. Even the Commerce Secretary,
Yeah.
like first he was saying strengthen your borders. And then this guy's saying strengthen your borders and you won't get the tariff.
Yeah.
And then they do all that. They spend over $1 billion on their borders.
Yeah.
And it's noticeable.
Yeah.
There's like Black Hawks flying around, monitoring. And then he does it anyway. And then he says it's not going to have an impact on oil or energy. He does that
Then he does a 10% tariff on that as well, right? Like it seems like even the border part of it, right? It's not like drugs and migrants don't come from America into Canada, right? Like they come this way as well, right?
Yeah.
And if Trudeau's saying is 1%, I've also read multiple articles that it's only 1%. We don't know exactly what the numbers are, right?
Yeah.
But like it's comparatively to what he's saying, he's making it seem like it's a massive problem.
Yeah.
It seems like he's just doing it because remember before when he was talking about, well, with Canada, we're going to use economic force. Right. Why? What's the whole reason
This is
for
when
this?
he ran for president the first time he was saying this?
No, he was saying that now.
Yeah.
Right. He was even saying before he applied these tariffs, he was saying right before his Commerce Secretary, his nominee for the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
Right before he said what he was saying, like how these things could be avoided.
Yeah.
Trump was saying there's no way they can avoid them.
Yeah. That's all he kept saying. He's
Right.
like, no, they're coming.
And doesn't it seem like to you guys, like from the jump, he's kind of been like, these are coming.
Yeah.
Like they were working with him. You had the foreign affairs minister in Canada, the Melanie Joly.
Yeah.
She flew down a couple of times. I think even before the Saturday before these tariffs were supposed to be imposed,
Daniel
I think on
Smith
Friday.
went there a couple
Yeah,
times.
they all went down,
To
right?
be honest, though, I kind of thought it was a joke
What?
when he first started talking about tariffs. Because, they're all flying down. But they're going to Mar-a-Lago. It seems like they were all just partying, having a good time, having dinner. Like, they didn't seem like a professional, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he was joking.
I feel like even if at some point he wasn't serious about it, he said it so goddamn
He
much.
did.
He had to do it.
Annoyingly, man.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just do it.
I was fed up with it too. I'm like, they're finally here. Now we can deal with it.
Yeah.
And move forward, right?
Yeah, I feel like just because he said it, even once he
At some
had
point,
to
he
do
had
it.
Right?
That's
like
why he did it, because he said it.
it almost feels like like you were saying before, like he's just making these statements even when the helicopter crash happened.
Yeah.
It feels like he's on social media. He's active a lot. He sees all of this stuff, right? And people have been talking about tariffs for like months, right? And even while he was running, he was saying that tariffs are important. He's going to use them this administration, right? So I don't know what his whole take is, right? If he wants to have this take where he's saying that the U.S. should just depend on the U.S. and he wants no foreign trade.
Yeah.
I think even in his he said if the Canada responds, there's going to be harsh consequences.
Yeah, he said in the executive order, he concluded a clause saying retaliatory tariffs could result in a strong response. He wrote it in there.
He's basically saying that we're going to put these tariffs on Canada, but you guys can't do anything.
Yeah, just take them.
Yeah.
So imagine that, right? Like we can talk about it all we want, like how Canada's economy is going to get decimated and all this stuff, right? But if somebody's like, hey, listen, I'm going to do this to you and you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Or you're not allowed to say anything, right? Like,
come on.
Didn't something like this happen before? I feel like he wanted to impose tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
We counteracted with the same amount.
Yeah, it was,
and all this disappeared.
Eventually, it starts hurting both of the economies.
It was in 2018 during the USMCA.
Yeah.
That's what was happening, right? And he was doing it with Mexico as well. They responded. I think they tackled a couple of very specific things. I don't know if it was wine or grapes or something. And slowly it was like
right in California.
Yeah. And then slowly it was like, okay. And Canada at that time tackled aluminum, and things started to get messy. And then they were like, all right, maybe we should have a trade agreement, right? That happened, right? But I don't know what this guy's plan is this time around.
Yeah.
You think it'll be similar? Like they'll come up with a trade agreement?
You know what's different this time? I feel like he's souring relationships.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like
Seems
he's
intentional.
Yeah, he seems like he wants Canada to fail.
He wants to see the demise
Yeah.
of Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, I understand America first. He's just like, America only,
Yeah.
not only America only, everyone else needs to fail.
Because he's saying things like, oh, Canada didn't treat us properly in the trade agreement. When has that ever been the case? First of all, that's not our personality.
Yeah.
Like, as Canadians. So, like, when was he not treated fairly?
I think he's under this impression that they've been subsidizing Canada. That's what he'll just
Yeah.
Saying
continually
the
say.
same things over
right?
and over again.
Like, they're
He
talking
has
points,
no
right?
new info.
But don't
Yeah.
they get the oil on a discount?
They do get a discount
Even
because
the oil, so
yeah.
you're saying 10%?
Yeah.
But what about all, like, remember you were saying the oil comes from here, goes to Texas, and it's all used to make our oil thinner so that they can use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they're going to have to build all this infrastructure.
Yeah.
So he's
They will.
willing to eat that cost?
Well, he's saying it now. What typically happens when you do anything with oil, right? Inflation goes up because everything's moved and everything needs oil.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that even in the States that are like, why is he doing this?
Yeah,
Right?
oil
'Cause-
and auto mainly. The automakers are pissed. All of them. Like,
I
why
mean-
is this happening? It's going to decimate us.
If you're Canada at this point, wouldn't you think like, okay, hold on. Yes, he's doing this for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Right? You can make up every excuse in the book if you want
Yeah.
to. He's basically just doing it because he wants to and
Yeah.
he can.
To
Right?
show power.
Yeah. So
I think.
like whatever it is to be like, we're gonna do what we can and you can't stop us, right?
Yeah.
So if you're Canada, wouldn't you be like, hey, listen, we don't agree with why he's doing this because they're making every effort to stop it. And he's basically saying he didn't even acknowledge if it was enough or wasn't enough
Right.
or what Canada's doing
Yeah.
or what they can do more. He just goes, yeah, the borders, fentanyl, the borders. That's all
At
he
least
keeps
say,
saying, right?
like, there's these points that I want you to hit. If you secure the border this much or spend this much
Yeah.
or do something, we can avoid that.
Kind of like what
None of
that guy was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can do certain things to prevent it.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's taking a logical approach, and I think he's from the get go. This has nothing to do with logic,
Yeah.
right? Like he's on
Kind of
this.
seems like a little kid trying to win.
Yeah, I don't even know why though. Right, that's the part of it I don't understand. Right, like even if you want to argue that I don't know, our trade deficit with them is, you can Google it. I feel like it's somewhere less than 100 billion.
Yeah.
Right, like it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And then
he
if you-
always just pulls stats up.
yeah, we're not I'm not an economist by any means, right? But like the U.S. population is like 5 or 6 times what Canada's population. Don't they just consume more?
Exactly.
At some point,
pretty
right?
easy to look at.
You're going to send more things from here so they can. And the way why Canada's
187.
how much?
187.
187 the deficit.
Yeah.
And then why Canada is more vulnerable is because we have all the raw materials, but we don't manufacture anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically, right? So we send them the raw materials,
Right.
they make the things, and then we
And
buy
we
them.
use them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a very reductive point of view, but that's basically what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, maybe it's time for Canada to think, hey, listen, we should incentivize businesses. I know it's uncomfortable, but if we're going to go through this, maybe learn a lesson, maybe find other trading partners,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Or find reasons that businesses want to operate here, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna
Incentivize
say, like, build the stuff here.
yeah.
Like, we're so populated in Ontario and then like Vancouver. Let's
Yeah.
populate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Build stuff in Alberta where all the oil is.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about data centers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? Why doesn't Canada jump on this wave? Also, outside of just data centers, I feel like they can, if they had pipelines that went from the east to the west coast, they can ship oil to Europe, right?
sure.
And then you had China saying that we're open to trade negotiations, right?
Yeah.
And obviously,
always
ideologically, it doesn't
Yeah.
like align with Canada
Yeah.
sometimes, right? And it is easier to be. That's the weird part here. The United States and Canadian values are very similar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like a lot of people, I guess, abroad wouldn't even be able to tell the difference unless you're talking about a thick Canadian accent versus a thick Texas,
Nova Scotia.
right? Like, yeah. Otherwise, they would think that you're American Canadian. You can get away with both, right? But I feel like this in the past, they had almost been close to having certain trade deals with China,
Yeah.
and I think maybe it's time to open those trade talks.
Maybe. Do you guys think he keeps saying though that these will remain in effect until the fentanyl and the borders are controlled? Is he giving himself an out there, you think?
No,
just in case.
Yeah, I think
maybe it's an hour, right? That's what I'm thinking.
I think you're not wrong there. I think he even was saying, I heard rumbling, that some of his staff or some people were advising him to, before the USMCA negotiations kick off, we should have tariffs imposed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
Right. So if that's his thing, like, oh, let them feel the pain. So then when it comes to USMCA, they're going to give us what they want. Right?
Yeah.
What we want.
But he denied that too.
He denied it. He's denying it.
He's like,
all.
it's not a negotiation tactic. We're subsidizing. We needed to do this.
They don't need to. He even said, like, we have plans for Europe and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's not done yet, right? If they're going to do that, you're going to see a lot of countries get together and it's going to backfire. Eventually.
You can't,
you can't
push
just do
everybody
this to the
past
world.
the brink.
Right.
And then have that attitude, like, I'm allowed to do this, just shut up.
Yeah, I feel like you've even seen Polyev come out and he was saying that there was dollar for dollar tariffs are going to be needed. You just have to do it tactically. Trudeau's message, we can make fun of him all he wants, but he was saying a correct message there, right? Like, you need to stand up for Canada and be unified. Yeah. Right. And he's
essentially
still
a
being
blanket tariff.
Yeah. But he's being descriptive, which you can make fun of juices or wines or whatever, right? But it's
he said orange juice because they get a lot of orange juice from
yeah. I mean, a lot of the conversations just shifted.
Yeah.
I feel like it's ridiculous to have these tariffs, right?
It makes me not want to drink orange juice or want to buy local.
How do you guys feel about that? That's what he said at the end there.
Yeah, I don't know.
About
it's kind of annoying hearing Trump say it over and over again that I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. You should buy Canadian.
That's the thing. Like, we're used to eating and consuming a lot of American products. You don't even know they're American.
Yeah.
Like French's ketchup. Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not it. Heinz's.
Even buying Canadian, I feel like even outside of just buying Canadian, anytime you can buy local and support your local communities and stuff, like, I'm always for it. When it's farmers or butcher shops or whatever.
Expensive.
Yeah.
So you choose not to.
And less convenient.
But now I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Now it might be cheaper.
I mean, I feel like if you're Canadian businesses, you should go out of your way and highlight that your product is Canadian.
Yeah.
I'd be printing those labels as we speak.
For sure.
And be like, made in Canada or whatever they are, right? So consumers that actually want to support that, they can actually go buy it, right? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with supporting Canadian businesses, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like at the end of the day, what's this going to do? It could be a trade war for whatever reason he thinks deficits or whatever, right?
Yeah.
At a time when economies are doing shit, I know the U.S. economy is obviously resilient and they're doing a lot better than the Canadian economy, but at this time, you're going to get what? You're going to create inflation?
Yeah.
Right? You're going to make things more expensive for people for no reason?
Yeah, interest rates just came down.
Yeah.
And now they're going to go right back up.
They're terrified too, those guys, because the differentiation from the American dollar already.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because their economy is more resilient, they had a rate pause. Canada continues to cut rates, right? Which when something like this happens, they need to think about what's happening with unemployment and what's going on, because there's going to be a lot of jobs lost, right? And if this is prolonged, right? If this isn't just some tactic like he claims it's not, right? And then that would typically trigger the central bank, like the Bank of Canada, to decrease interest rates, right?
Yeah.
But then if you decrease them too much, if you're in a trade war, you're kind of screwing yourself because then the dollar's falling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I saw a Canadian brand, like a clothing company, market that. They're saying to all my American clients, buy on our American site because the dollar's so like good right now. They're bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smart.
I guess.
I mean, businesses got to do what they got to do to survive, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a political game that somebody's playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's unnecessary, this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have a bunch of shit that's going on, right? A bunch of problems to solve, and you're like, Canada seems to be
create one.
a problem.
I'm still reluctant to believe it'll be anything more than maybe a couple months.
I kept thinking at first, like, these aren't real. This isn't going to happen.
Now, like what Trudeau's saying.
Yeah.
So he's going to fire back and then.
Yeah.
Then what? It's dissolved.
Well, Trump said if they fire back, there'll be more
What is he
consequences.
gonna,
right?
what are the more?
He's going to raise it more.
Raise it more.
They're going to raise it more.
Then
Which
it's just gonna be
How
like
long do you play
100%.
that game?
yeah,
exactly.
no, you play it until there's no more trade,
Yeah.
right? And if he's gonna do something, did you hear what Freeland said?
No.
Freeland said that they should do 100% tariffs on Teslas.
100%?
100%.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, if they're going to start doing this kind of stuff, right? Like at the end of the day, Canadians, even in the auto industry, right? You drive Fords, Chevys, all these cars, right? Why? Right? Like, why are we making American companies richer, right? Like, that's how, if you want to think like Trump, why? Why are we doing any of that?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no Canadian made cars. That's what my point was earlier. Like, maybe then it's time for Canada to wake up, incentivize businesses, and actually make things here.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a good trading relationship with the United States when all the dust settles. Obviously, is beneficial for both countries.
Yeah.
But even as that's going on, develop something so somebody can't come in and bully you into doing whatever the hell they want economically.
Bullying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if he's going to say, don't respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
That's crazy. That's such a crazy thing to say.
Yeah. Like, what do you think this is? Like, militarily speaking, obviously the Canadian military can't do anything. They can't even hold a candle to the U.S. military. It's ridiculous to think
They're not
that,
going to
right?
fund it anymore.
No.
Yeah.
But like even economically speaking, the US is a powerhouse, right? The world reserve currency, everything goes through the US. All the biggest companies are there. It's the richest country in the world. So what's Canada? Canada's a peanut compared to that,
Yeah.
right? But that doesn't matter. You can't just go around and bullying countries for absolutely no reason. It's not like any kind of conflict was going on between Canada and the US that this was required. It's simply because he's annoyed and he thinks that we should get more money from Canada.
Yeah.
They've been taking advantage of us, right?
Yeah.
When in reality, even if you want to talk about the military, the same way the US protects Taiwan,
Yeah.
right? Because those chips are needed, right? It's similarly, if the US military it's in their best interest to make sure that Canada is not invaded by anyone who's their enemy.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
On top of it all, the people they've been blaming, he's been saying China for the virus, and they've been going at China
Yeah.
over red note,
They get
over
10%.
all. Yeah, they got a 10% tariff. Why? Because he knows if he pushed it too hard, Xi's probably going to be like, hey, listen.
He said 100
Yeah.
initially. How did 100 go to 10?
I don't know. You know what I'm...
35 plus 10, like because they come through Mexico.
On China?
25 plus 10, you're
25
saying?
plus 10.
Yeah, that's theoretically,
Yeah.
right? And they also still have 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs and a few other things, right?
Yeah.
Those are existing. These are in addition to what's going on.
That are comparable to Teslas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
So
like
that
way
was
cheaper.
my thing too. I feel like
Yeah.
people aren't talking about it, right? Because we're just like, oh no, we want to support America and stuff, right? If they're not supportive of
Yeah.
Canada, right? Wouldn't you think, if there's another automaker who, if we lift these 100% EVs,
Exactly.
then you can get cars comparable to Tesla, right? That nobody knows the brand BYD because it's not sold here,
Yeah.
right? Because they're tariffed so heavily,
Yeah.
right? If you can get that and you can get it at a cheaper price, why not? I don't know if Freeland just 100% tariffing Teslas sounds kind of stupid to me,
Yeah.
but why don't you lift the Chinese EV tariff,
Maybe
right?
that's her plan.
I mean, it's definitely things that you would float and have conversations about, and that's how you negotiate,
Yeah.
right? With somebody like him, you're like, like, okay, fine. If you don't want our products and what we have to offer, maybe other countries do,
Yeah.
and maybe other countries also make things that we can consume,
Yeah.
right?
When you push somebody into a corner, sometimes they find solutions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you don't think about, right?
Mhm.
When you're just bullying people.
Mm-hmm. But talking about China and tariffs and everything that's going on with China,
Yeah.
let's move on to Deepseek. I mean, for those of you that don't know, Deepseek is known basically as an AI app similar to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But it's open source, meaning anyone can alter the code.
Yeah.
And the app is free to use, whereas ChatGPT Mini is free, but then you're limited to how many times you can use it a day. And
Yeah.
if you want the full version, you have to pay monthly for it.
Yeah.
Right. But this basically, once they introduced it,
Yeah.
it kind of took the tech industry by storm.
Yeah. The tech stocks started to tumble. Nvidia was down 17%.
Mhm.
That's their largest fall since 2000. It shed almost 600 billion of its market value. That's the
nuts.
largest fall in U.S. history. The S&P was down 1.5%, and the Nasdaq has more tech, and obviously fell 3%.
Yeah.
So they were all just
Everyone talks about Nvidia. I hear it everywhere.
yeah,
Buy Nvidia.
yeah, and then it just fell.
Well, the whole thing with them is they make, up until this point, NVIDIA makes these NH100 chips that are supposedly integral to AI.
All AI,
right?
yeah.
And then, like we were saying before, Taiwan that I mentioned, all those chips are made by TSMC. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing.
TSMC.
Yeah, TSMC, right? So those chips, the US has banned TSMC from selling those chips to China, right? The high-end ones, right? Instead, I think they sell China the 800 model. I think it's like the H800 or something like that.
Yeah.
Simply because, so when this is basically made, it kind of catches everyone off guard, right? And the whole industry is like, how are these guys making a AI that can compete with ChatGPT?
Yeah.
And they're not using NVIDIA's chips.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the whole thing. They're not using their chips at all.
Apparently. So even Sam Altman chimed in.
Yeah.
And according to a Wall Street Journal article, in an Ask Me Anything session on Reddit Friday, a participant asked Altman if the ChatGPT maker would consider releasing some of the technology with its AI models and publish more research showing how its systems work. Altman and OpenAI employees were discussing the possibility. I personally think we have been on the wrong side of history here and need to figure out a different open source strategy, Altman responded.
Damn.
So even him, right? Like it
sounds like he's scared.
Reduced capability chip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they are using.
They're low performing chips. They're NH800s.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to use the 100 chips.
Right.
Right. Which is what people keep saying that you need for AI.
Yeah.
Right.
To my understanding, like even Altman, all of them said for any AI, any LLM model, you need these super advanced chips, right? And these guys are using cheaper chips.
Yeah.
And they're just. It's cheaper to make in general, right?
Yeah. So, they're using H100 chips. OpenAI is, right?
Yeah.
And H800 is the chips.
Okay.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. I think I said NH, but it's NVIDIA.
Yeah.
But yeah. Basically, this is an AI race now.
Yeah.
Right. And it seemed like people were just claiming that China, and they were speculating what China has, their AI is good or bad or whatever, and then China drops Deepseek out of nowhere. Right. And it's the most downloaded app, I think, recently.
Yeah, it's number one in the App Store.
Yeah.
You see the developer?
Yeah.
It's just written in Chinese.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. People are saying TikTok, all this, that red note.
Red note, yeah.
They ban all of it. Then they release this app. Are you going to trust this one?
Look at that, right? Like, so this is an AI app. And it's the most downloaded app on the App Store, right? And they haven't talked about banning this.
And you're just feeding them information.
Mad information, asking you questions, and it's telling you answers.
Yeah.
It's an AI.
Yeah.
But it's saying anybody can change the coding, right?
That's how open source works.
Yeah.
Right? You know
Not
that
that you have access. Code anything,
No.
but like somebody who can I don't know.
Yeah, so even ChatGPT, like what Altman was saying, when they first introduced ChatGPT, I remember them being very secretive over how it's used and what
all
the coding is and stuff like that, and they're trying to keep it very hush hush. So it's surprising even him coming out and being like, maybe we should make it open source.
Yeah.
Right. So anyone can recode it. Right. But to be fair, doing things like that in the tech industry is usually what a small player would do to take a shot at big giants, because you're like, hey, listen, here's something everyone can do. Right.
Yeah.
And then you kind of make them lose their market share. It's a tactic people use. That's probably what's going on here. But like, I mean, it's still impressive, right? They're saying that this thing, I heard rumors that it was built on 6 million.
Yeah, they're saying
6 million or billion?
Million. $6
right?
million, and it only cost, or it was developed in 2 months. It cost $6 million. And with ChatGPT, there's some conflicting reports, but it says that it could cost up to $4 million per iteration, or like $700K a day. So just look at that.
Yeah.
To run. Look at the huge difference, right?
Yeah.
In cost.
Yeah.
And it's pretty telling that people are just pulling their stock out, people that know things.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Altman seems like he's a little worried about it, at least.
Wouldn't you be? Like, if somebody can make something that's essentially just as competitive,
Cheaper.
right? It's cheaper to make, right? And they're saying that the code is free and the product itself is free.
Kind of an
The writing is kind of on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, okay, we're here, we mean business, right? I feel like there's also these other rumblings going on that they're using 50,000 or more of these
Right, I read
100
that.
chips.
Yeah.
There's no way they can produce this thing.
Then it's
So,
like more propaganda.
yeah, people are calling their bluff and being like, this is
Yeah, like, too
BS.
good to
Like,
be
they're,
true.
yeah.
Right when you were saying that, I was like,
maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
They're saying that the Chinese government they would get behind this because the AI arms race or whatever, right? So you don't really know what to believe at the end of the day. But regardless, there's all this stuff happening with, I think, Elon had his Grok or whatever it's called. Grok, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Google's, and then now, but nobody was really comparing them too much to ChatGPT, right? And at first, ChatGPT was just something that people talked about, but now I feel like everyone
People
uses
use
it.
It's
right?
starting to get integrated into like society as a whole. I think a lot of kids use it the way that we used to use Google and stuff.
I started using it.
Yeah, I use Chat. Yeah, everyone uses it now,
Yeah.
right? And I end up using it.
I didn't realize
daily.
how cool it was.
Yeah,
It's,
you can do
it's
everything
pretty cool.
on there.
yeah.
I was like, make me a weekly meal plan. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, do you
Even
want
recipe.
protein? Do you
Yeah.
want, like, I was like, okay. So much easier.
Right? It's like a step easier than Google. Kind of like you can just instead of researching and then reading an article,
It does that
and
part.
then like making notes, it does that part for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't follow it at all, but,
Yeah.
but it's there if I ever want to go back.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely impressive, but I don't know. Something about this does feel a little bit weird, and the way that they dropped it.
Yeah.
Because then you see countries aren't dumb, man. If China sees Trump's now pushing this tariff thing and he's going to do so, why do you think Trump backed off a little bit too, right? These guys dropped
Yeah.
Deepseek and Trump gets spooked.
Yeah.
Like, you remember when Xi talked about how no one can stop their reunification with
Yeah.
Taiwan? Yeah. I didn't hear a peep from Trump.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
He talks about everything.
Yeah.
Trump gets spooked.
He doesn't get spooked, but somebody knows, like, they get a lot of cheap parts and
You
things.
can't
from
mess around with
There's
China.
a lot of trade going on.
Yeah.
It's not about wars, right? It's about money, right? And you know if somebody can affect your dollar, right? The problem, he also knows, though, China's economy is decimated right now.
Yeah.
Their real estate economy collapsed,
Yeah.
right? Evergrande, we saw everything that happened with them.
Yeah.
These ghost cities in China, right? There's protests that happen there all the time, right? People are losing money. It's China's economic atmosphere isn't the greatest, right? But at that same time, these guys are coming up with AI technology and EVs that combat Tesla.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, he did say, he's like, this is a wake up call for our companies. We need to compete to win.
Yeah. Learn from him, Canada. There's a wake up call for
Yeah,
Canada. We
wake
need
up.
to compete too, right? We
We need
can't
our
just
own
sit around do-
value.
But he doesn't want us to compete.
No. He just wants us to sit there and just do whatever he says. Right? That makes sense. Okay. So let's move on to the Canadian Liberal Party is concerned with being targets of conspiracy theories. Preliminary data from Reset Tech, a nonpartisan organization, looked at open source data on platforms like X and Meta's Facebook and Instagram from January 20th and 27th and analyze the level of engagement each leadership contender received. Carney's high level of engagement, including his own boost on January 26th, were linked to unproven emergent conspiracies that the leadership race is rigged in his favor. The report notes, narratives related to climate change also contributed to Carney's engagement levels, along with claims from right-leaning groups that Carney, also a former Bank of England governor, had been deemed untrustworthy in the UK. The organization analysis of Freeland's social media mentions revealed that while she was also the target of climate-related narratives and those aimed at her comments about U.S. President Donald Trump, she was also subjected to abusive rhetoric on X and the messaging app Telegram, featuring false claims about her mental and physical health, along with misogynistic narratives pushed by an international network of far-right pro-Kremlin and QAnon conspiracy accounts. Researchers also identified 15 false advertisements on Meta platforms during that period, impersonating Canadian media outlets, including The Star, that spread fabricated claims about Freeland and Trudeau. And this was a Toronto Star article.
Okay.
A spokesperson for the Liberal Party said it was working with top government officials to oversee the integrity of the race, which is also being monitored by Canada's Security and Intelligence Threats to Elections Task Force.
Okay.
So basically, they're saying that there's a bunch of conspiracy theories online, and both of them are being linked to, I believe, climate change conspiracies. And there's 15 false advertisements on Meta platforms are saying with, people impersonating Canadian media. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Like whenever there's like a false advertisement on Facebook or anything, you'll see like the thumbnail or the picture of the thing, and it'll have like a Toronto Star or CBC or whatever the news source is. It's not actually from them, but they'll throw their logo on it. I think that's what they're talking about. But 15 doesn't seem like a lot.
No.
Right?
It's considering how much content's put up like every day. And it's also debatable. Where does a conspiracy theory start relative to somebody's opinion, right? That's really...
Yeah, I mean, don't you think with the climate stuff...
kind of asking for it, right?
A lot of it was with this carbon tax stuff, right? That I feel like the whole country was sick of. Even they're saying that they're going to... I think even Carney said that he wanted to get rid of the carbon tax for consumers and put it on businesses, right? That are doing it. I think he was even saying like... they're coming into Canada, not even Canadian businesses.
Okay.
Right. So I don't know exactly though, but we're speculating there.
Yeah.
But so he even thinks it's not good, right? Even Freeland, I think she mentioned something about getting rid of the carbon tax, right?
Both of them did.
So the carbon tax is directly...
She said she would abolish it.
It's directly to do with climate change.
Exactly.
Right. So I would assume if there's people posting about these things on social media, they're going to write hashtag climate change, hashtag this, hashtag that.
That's kind of what social media is. People just have conspiracy. They specifically like Twitter. It's just conspiracy theories. That's all it is. And a bunch of opinions, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even people talking about her mental and physical health.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she does have some weird mannerisms. We've seen them, right? Like, I don't mean to make light of it. Like when she's standing in those press conferences, right? And the internet's going to take things and run with it.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of memes and stuff.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Just for jokes.
I don't know if all of that is somebody trying to attack her, right?
Yeah.
Like, people say stuff to us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's comments and stuff written all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're going to read into that, like, I don't know. And 15 doesn't seem like too many advertising. Like if it was like 1,500, I'd be like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like some massive campaign.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. It seems like there's a fine line there between conspiracy theories, because I didn't even hear this untrustworthy Carney thing.
Yeah.
People just think he's untrustworthy because he was Trudeau's economic advisor.
Yeah.
And then after he resigns, you're like, I want to be the party leader, right? Like that doesn't scream
that doesn't seem
worthy, right? Like that's all it is. I don't think that has anything to do with United Kingdom.
Yeah. In general, online, there's always going to be misinformation, right? But you have your platform. Even in that article, they mentioned that Carney spent $107,000 on ad spend, right? So you have your platform. You can go and address that misinformation. Be like, this is the rhetoric online. This is what I actually mean, right?
I mean, yeah, I think I would always fall on the side of free speech there. And I think like if there is, to your point, if somebody is online and they're saying things that aren't true, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? What are you going to have instead? Like, okay, you can't talk about this, this, and this. These are just, you can't talk about
censorship.
Right? And then you get a bunch of people who have things to say about politics, especially in today's day and age. Right? Everyone has opinions. We talk about them all the time.
Yeah, that's all this is.
Yeah, right. Like it's a large part of this is politics, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and the more you age, and the more a lot of people from our generation who grew up during the social media era, Facebook wasn't even invented. I think it like first hit university campuses like around when I was in university.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so to me, I think like a lot of those people now that they're grown up, obviously when you hit the next phase in your life, you start to talk more about politics. It just kind of comes with it because you care about what's going on in the country. You're no longer a kid.
Yeah.
Right. So as that's going on, you're going to start posting about these things on social media just the same way you would post and talk about sports.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like talking points, right? I don't know. I feel like there is something to say about misinformation for sure, but I don't think it's something that you can no, I don't like. I can see how somebody can look at it and think there's fabricated claims.
Yeah.
But honestly,
there always is.
Yeah. But people say shit all the time.
And the scary part is like, how do you control that? Censorship.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to be for that.
So. Yeah. I mean, who in their right mind would be?
Yeah.
Right?
Who wants to be censored ever? Right? Free speech is what we want.
Yeah. Because you're sharing ideas. That's what social media is, right? You're sharing ideas, right? I mean, I even saw you're talking about the $107,000 that Carney spent. I think if we're just going to talk about how much they've spent on pushing these things, I don't think Freeland spent anything because she has a large following.
Yeah.
I think one of them, Gould, I think she spent like $100 or something. Just boosted an Instagram post or something.
Even Ruby Dalla dropped like $7,000.
Oh, she thinks she's going to win the way she was talking.
I guess.
Ruby Dalla, like one of the things she just separate. She's like saying she's going to deport all the immigrants.
Yeah.
Remember her nanny case? Her nanny fraud stuff?
Yeah,
it had complete to do with immigrants.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know her name.
I vaguely remember.
So hearsay.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
She hired two people to take care of her elderly mother.
Yeah.
And then they came and then they started saying that Ruby Dalla and her brother they took their passports, they weren't paying them properly, they were making them clean their chiropractic businesses, they were making them wash their cars, and then so there's two sides of it. She was like saying that they just wanted to stay in the country, so they were making up these lies. But it's weird that she specifically said she's going to get rid of the illegal immigrants when your whole problem she had to step down, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't think she's an MP or anything right now.
I don't
think so.
She's just a member.
She was an MP at that time.
I think that caused her to step down, but I don't remember.
Yeah, and all this is alleged.
Yeah,
right?
It is all alleged.
Don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know for sure.
It was surrounding immigrants.
But the case is out there. People.
Yeah, I mean, so would it be a stretch to think she doesn't like immigrants? You know what's weird? When she was on CP24,
but she had hired immigrants.
I'm just being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But when she was on CP24 and she's like, I'm not doing this because I need a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's a chiropractor.
Yeah, like nobody thought that you were doing this because like, that goes without saying, right? Like,
you should do it for your city, your country.
Yeah, like do you hear Trudeau saying like, "I don't need a job, guys"?
She's
like,
trying to be the female Donald Trump. That's the whole thing. Yeah,
right.
She called herself that.
She called herself that.
Yeah.
Okay, then it makes sense, right? She got a playbook. It doesn't work for her, right? She's obviously not.
You came here through immigration. How are you going to be the female Donald Trump?
No, like, okay, we're a product of immigration, right? That doesn't mean that you can't get annoyed when a country's immigration policies get a little bit too relaxed and the system gets overloaded, and now you're gonna breed hate when you do that, right? Because you're gonna have less jobs. There's a lot of shit going on, right? But that doesn't mean that you go completely on the other side and you're like, immigrants are just bad altogether, right? And I don't know, if she's playing Donald Trump's playbook, she's probably just doing that exactly, playing.
Yeah, I feel like she just saw, it worked for him.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just do it too.
Let me give it a shot.
Right. Look, these are merely our opinions based on our life experiences, knowledge, and research. Maybe you agree or disagree or simply want to be a part of the conversation. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. Now let's get back to the pod. I mean, anyways, that's all we have for the stories. Let's move on to off topic.
Okay, so the first topic is about Pat Riley. So he is president of the Miami Heat. He was a former NBA head coach of the Lakers. So the Lakers won the NBA championship in 1987 and 1988. So when they were going into the 1989 season, they wanted to win for the third consecutive year.
Yeah.
And there was actually a player named Byron Scott who first said the name Threepeat.
He was the first one to say it?
Yeah,
I
on
think
TV.
so. I didn't know that.
But then Pat Riley, who was their coach at the time, he trademarked that phrase.
Yeah.
Smart.
And a bunch of phrases related to that, like different spellings, using the number 3, etc.
Yeah. Even the fonts and stuff.
Yeah.
He trademarked it.
Yeah. Very smart that he did that. So that means that any sort of merchandise that has 3P on it, so like hats, shirts, jackets, whatever, he gets 5% royalties.
Yeah.
So since then there's been a few teams that have won 3 championships in a row. And everybody says 3P. Yeah, the Bulls, the Lakers, the Yankees.
The Yankees.
Yeah.
And then so now in 2025, the Chiefs have a chance to do a 3P.
I didn't know.
Win.
Yeah.
I don't know how it went like over my head. I don't know. I forgot that, or maybe I knew and I forgot.
Yeah.
So I did read up on it. Like I think the first go around, I don't know if it was the Yankees. I think it was the Bulls maybe first or the Yankees, whatever way. The first time he made like 100-something grand, and then the second time when it was the Bulls, he made like $500,000. And now it's like, if he's rooting for the Chiefs, obviously to win this thing, because he's probably gonna make a whole lot.
Huge payday.
I mean, I think the story does come up every once in a while whenever there's a three-peat that's
someone's
possibly
about
gonna
to
happen. Like, I've heard it a couple of times. I don't know the exact details that Byron Scott said it first and then he coined it. The last one?
Miami almost did it.
Miami didn't do it though.
I think it was the Lakers.
And then the Yankees.
The Bulls.
The Bulls. Lakers never did it?
No, San Antonio didn't do it. Miami didn't do it. Who did it? Did anyone do it in the NFL? No, right?
No, NFL's never been done.
NFL never been done.
Yeah.
NHL, I think, is highly unlikely. So it had to have been basketball.
Yeah.
Or the Yankees.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right? So in basketball, like, who's been the champion?
It was the Lakers.
Yeah, it was the Lakers.
Yeah,
the Lakers.
the Kobe Lakers.
Lakers. Yeah, I keep thinking about Magic.
So it was like,
after the Bulls, it was the Kobe Lakers. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's pretty. I mean, honestly,
I didn't know it was a trademark.
It's smart on his part.
Smart.
Yeah.
Like, people can hate on him.
People are hating?
Right now,
so somebody always hates because of Jimmy Butler and all that stuff, right? but Pat Riley's not exactly the
most beloved.
Yeah, like he has like a hard nosed kind of personality. There's like no BS with him, so he's always been that way. Man. But that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah,
because he probably
anyone could have done it.
Yeah, he probably knew. He's like, this is gonna happen again. And even the Chiefs, they've been trying to just go Chiefs Pete.
Yeah, change the phrase.
Or like just things of that nature. You see them tweeting it and stuff. Obviously, because they're trying to like, is this going to work? Can we just say something else?
Yeah.
But when you do it, now it's like just part of like history. Everyone wants to 3P. Everyone wants to say the word. So I don't know. Good on him. He's probably going to make a whole lot if the Chiefs win.
Yeah.
Which they probably will.
I'm jealous.
He's so old.
Okay, so the next story is about the Toronto Raptors. So they put out a episode of Open Gym, and then this one was featuring Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. And they talked about how they want to retire as Raptors. So we have a clip.
And I'm sure, like, I mean this. I'm going to take my one day whenever I retire. It's going to be there one day, and I'm going to sign it. And I want to finish my career as a Toronto Raptor. Like, I want to finish it because what that place did for me, what that place did for him, what that place did for our families and friends, we will never get that back. I would say the same thing for him. Yeah, he got drafted there.
Yeah, I think like what's crazy, like me being drafted there, there was no other place I wanted to go. I just always think about even a tweet, you know, that I tweeted when Chris left. You know, don't worry, I got us. Like I meant that, you know, I meant that wholeheartedly, and I think the love and the ups and downs, I really gave my all to that organization, to that country, because I just wanted them to like respect it in return. So to Low Point, you know, definitely that's the only place I want to go out as well. You know what I mean? Doing the whole one-day thing and everything.
It's gonna be for sure. It'll be a one-day thing.
It's like one of those things that's, like I said, I think I said it before. Like I would never have an emotional connection like I had with no other place than Toronto.
That's crazy, man.
That's cool.
Isn't it crazy to even think? Like,
Yeah.
That whole Raptors era is over. These guys are. Kyle Lowry's probably done after this year and next. I feel like they tried to ring chase a little bit.
Yeah,
Probably not
I mean, DeRozan's still trying in Sacramento. No, but like I feel like remember when Drake said that whole thing, like if they put his jersey in the rafters, or what was he saying?
I'll rip it down myself.
And DeRozan was like, you got to climb up higher, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're from Toronto, right? Like you could be a Drake fan if you want to be, cool, and like we support Drake here and there, right? Like we get it when it comes to like Kendrick and all that stuff. When it comes to Demar, though, this guy put in work for Toronto, right? And like as a Raptors fan, you gotta respect that and everything that he's done. He's always loved the city.
Yeah.
He was loyal to a fault. If you guys remember, Masai was the one that traded him away.
Yeah, he didn't want to leave.
He didn't want to leave.
Never
right? Masai soured that relationship. He still believes he could have won that title because the way the injuries and everything panned out without Kawhi. And it could, and who knows? It could have happened with DeRozan.
Could have.
If it did, DeRozan would have been a lifer in Toronto.
Yeah.
Right, like he would have been immortalized. Probably would have been a statue outside of Scotiabank Arena.
Kyle Lowry's getting 100%.
How does Lowry deserve one over DeRozan?
He's gonna get one because he was here when they won.
Yeah.
Best Raptors ever, right? If you're gonna put your list, right? Who's on that list?
Vince Carter.
Okay,
Carter's on it.
Carter's on it, but there's an argument.
Got to be DeRozan, Lowry. They're both on it.
Yeah, it's Bosh, Carter, DeRozan, Lowry. Who else would you put ahead of these guys? Like you can talk about T-Mac, you can talk about Kawhi, but he didn't play in Toronto long enough.
On the Raptors.
Not long enough.
Yeah, that's why I.
Couple years.
I know he's on it, but like.
No. There's a lot of players that you can mention, right? That have had
but definitely
solid careers, right?
Huge impacts are Bosh, DeRozan, Lowry. And
out of all of those people, you can search franchise points and records for the Raptors.
I think DeRozan holds them.
DeRozan holds that.
Yeah.
And if you guys remember, DeRozan was kind of like, he grew up here and like in terms of like maturity,
see when he got drafted.
Right? Yeah. And he never really gave up on Toronto.
Yeah.
While he was
Toronto
here,
gave up on him.
Yeah.
Or not Toronto. Masai gave up.
Right. But Toronto got a ring out of it.
Yeah, DeRozan was number one.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly what you're saying. Then Lowry, then Bosh, then Carter.
Yeah. I know my Raptors. I know my basketball.
It's just crazy because that was fun, man. Watching that team develop.
Right.
And then it got to that point we could never get past LeBron. And then he leaves and they eventually win.
Yeah.
And I don't know, everyone felt for him. And then it was kind of shitty. This whole Drake situation soured everything.
Yeah.
I think if you think for a second that this guy doesn't deserve to retire here or shouldn't have his number retired, then you're not a Raptors fan.
Yeah, because like if they do retire his jersey, which they probably will, that's
Of course they will.
Raptors decision. That's a decision for the city.
Yeah.
So like, kind of like, who is Drake to say that? Oh, if they do it, I'm gonna rip off.
He is the ambassador. Yeah.
But still, like, it's not really his call.
I mean, Drake's always going to have a place in Toronto for sure, but I agree with everything that you're saying, right? DeMar
Do you
DeRozan.
think he has any leeway in that? Probably not, right? In deciding?
No, not in deciding, right? But as a fan, how do you guys fall on that? I think even if you're a Drake fan, right? Like DeMar DeRozan's from LA, right? He grew up in Compton, right? And so like it's like this whole LeBron thing with Drake. That's where I'm like, okay,
that
like you're not even from there, and you were friends with Drake, and now you're trying to be like, oh, like I don't know him or whatever he's doing, right, and rubbing everything in Drake's face. But with DeMar, like that's his guy. He grew up in that neighborhood.
Don't get me wrong, though. When I saw DeMar in the video a little bit, it hurt.
Yeah, but
even that he handled it like a man, bro. Even with Drake saying that, he wasn't like swearing at him, nothing. Like that's a pretty long climb, man. He's like, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
No, I mean,
a basketball player, relax, Drake.
I think at the end of the day, with DeMar, when he says things like that, he's directly talking, or even in that video when he's in it, he doesn't mean any harm to Toronto, right? It's not up to you that how a city's going to perceive it. You don't even know it. You think you're just supporting a friend, and then the whole city's like, what the hell? Why is he doing that or whatever? But at the end of the day, you see how highly he speaks of the country and the city. Right? He calls it home, right? Like I feel like it was somewhere where he was proud to play basketball.
Children were here.
I think he has a real connection to the city. And I think
he was drafted here. That's even different than Lowry, right?
Yeah. And I think his number does deserve to be in the rafters.
It should be. Like, it will be.
Yeah. Right. And then Drake might want to climb up and try to do whatever.
We'll see if he does that.
All right, should we move on?
Yeah.
So I'll just play a video first.
Oh, this is the real superstar. Yeah, you're talking about retiring jerseys. Superman.
It means business.
Just for some context, this part of the video is from a movie called The Sound of Music, where the character is just ripping up a Nazi flag.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Superman, but yeah.
This guy's so cringe, man.
Okay, what was the point of that? He's ripping up the liberal flag?
Hold on. First of all, it's a Kendrick track. You guys booked that?
Oh, I booked that. Yeah, that was annoying right away.
Right away. Like, are you retarded?
Whoever made
Wait, that wasn't a Kendrick song.
Wasn't it?
No, that was that Big Step that song.
Oh, that's not a Kendrick song?
No.
I thought it was. I probably said
No, that guy's Indian that sang that song.
Oh, that's not a Kendrick
Yeah.
song.
Oh, okay.
That's Humankind. That guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, completely missed that.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you thought it was Kendrick?
No, I thought I heard Kendrick really quickly. Yeah.
Okay, scratch that part. He's ripping up a red flag. What is it? A Canada flag? A liberal flag? What was the
even the message there, right? Like I guess he's trying to say that he's going to
take care of Trump and Elon.
Is that
that's how I interpret?
How did you interpret? Yeah,
I interpret it as that.
Yeah.
I thought
the
he
whole
was
Nazi salute thing.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
What do you think?
I don't know.
That he's taking down the government once it comes back?
I
But he ripped a Nazi flag.
No, but he ripped a red flag.
His flag.
What he ripped was like a tablecloth.
People, the comments are jokes. They're like, he ripped a Dollarama tablecloth.
That's what it was. But the second video was the guy ripping a
Nazi flag.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess I could see that.
Yeah. No, I could see that, but like, that's a dumb message to send right now, anyways, right? Like,
You're not
there's a
gonna
liberal
do it.
race
He's
going
not
on.
gonna get elected.
Yeah, right. And then he's always like, you guys remember when he was like on the skateboard drinking orange juice or some shit because that other guy was doing it.
Yeah. He's always doing these trends. Like, why are you a part-time TikToker? Right? TikToker.
Why not?
TikToker. Just.
I feel like watching him when he does this shit is so cringe. I'm just like,
It's
why?
so cringy.
Why not
Puts
just
them up to this?
I don't know. Somebody does. Somebody's like, hey, Jagmeet, you know what's a really good idea? Let's get a tablecloth and rip it in half and just confuse people, right? But let's not do this vote of no confidence thing that everyone's been pissed off
He's
about,
gonna do
right?
it now, eventually. His pension hit, right?
I mean, I don't even know if it's just about the pension. This guy thinks he's going to be
He's gonna win.
Yeah. He waited until he got his
I mean,
opportunity.
delusional confidence is a good thing.
Is it?
Yes.
Sometimes.
To some degree.
Yeah, it'll get you in some trouble, man. You get into some fights that you can't finish.
So I have no idea what the video actually means.
What, that whole thing?
talking
No, I don't think
He never
anyone
gave
does.
any context?
I think
No
he was just like,
context.
people haven't made fun of me in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, come, bring it on.
Bring it on, right? Like, I'm going to take down the government or whatever the hell. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just move on. So Selena Gomez posted a video of
I saw this too.
herself crying over the Trump administration.
Okay.
Say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do.
So she's crying about the deportations.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So after like Trump's mass deportations of undocumented immigrants, she posted that video.
Okay.
And then a politician by the name of Sam Barker replied saying she should be deported
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
because she's Mexican.
Yeah,
descent.
go.
But she was born in.
Yeah.
She was born her
States.
her dad's also from Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
Not even like she's fully
Mhm.
But yeah, so then so she's getting a lot of backlash because of the video.
Yeah.
She lost 700,000 followers from it. So she's like top 3 most followed person.
Damn.
Then the White House correspondent released this on her Twitter. So just for some context, this is a video about 3 mothers who have lost their children with violence against from immigrants.
Okay.
What about our children who were brutally murdered and raped and beat to death?
I just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. Children.
Seeing that video, it's hard to believe that it's actually genuine and real because she's an actress.
You don't know who you're crying for. What about our children who were brutally murdered and raped and beat to death and left on the floor by these illegal immigrants?
I just feel like it's a ruse to deceive people and to garner sympathy for lawlessness.
I wish I could do something, but I can't.
My daughter was a child. There's many other children whose lives were
This is
taken
from the White
due to
House.
people
They
who
released
crossed here
this.
illegally.
They didn't cry for our daughters.
No one has stood up except for us mothers to cry out about our children.
I am so happy that Trump won. I am so glad that this is one of the first bills to help with immigration.
It's only been 2 weeks, if that, since he's been in office, and he's taking accountability and he's making moves and he's making things happen.
President Trump genuinely cares for the American people, and he cares for the American family.
I truly appreciate everything Donald Trump has done.
We stand with President Trump in making
Isn't that girl
America safe
Latina?
again.
I don't know. They're clearly trying to make a point, though.
Don't you just know if you're like a bad crier, maybe you shouldn't put it on social media? You're gonna get flamed.
It's a weird thing to post on social
I didn't even know what the hell she was saying at the end.
Yeah, you can't really hear. She's just saying,
She feels sorry for it's okay. I see it from I know like everyone's making fun of her.
Yeah, she got bullied so
The
much.
memes were
online.
wild.
Yeah, look at the
Oh,
memes
no.
afterwards.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything.
It's just wild to me. She's crying like that. And then she's like, okay, let me take out my phone and record myself. Then let me post this so everyone can see it.
How do you do that,
especially if
man?
She has one of the biggest followings on social media. Like, how many followers does she have?
It's
in the
400
damn
million.
Wow.
So she's third. Like
Yeah.
Messi and I think Ronaldo are the only 2 ahead of her.
How does she get followed, man?
She's just so followed. Like she beat I think Kylie Jenner was up there too.
What the hell does she do? She releases music like every 2 years.
She's an actress.
She's founder of Rare Beauty.
Lots of commercials. Yeah.
Okay,
And she's been famous since she was young. She's on
Before
Disney
him,
Channel.
All I know is from the Waverly Place.
I know you're gonna bust out Taylor and be like, "Is this compared to that?"
Is she more followed? I don't even know. I don't think
More followed than Taylor.
There you go.
Third most
Yeah.
of all time.
That is crazy.
So okay, the way I see it,
Now she probably
like I know
fourth,
it's really cringy watching her
Mhm.
cry, but like I get it. She's like, those are her people. Like, how would you feel if like mass deportations of?
So
I wouldn't do that.
No, you wouldn't do that. But what if you you were big on social media? Your follow like
Still wouldn't do that.
I
There's so many approaches you can take. That's not the right one.
Yeah.
That'll never
What
be the
does that
right
even?
I don't. It's so she took it down. I don't think that was.
Well, that's on the internet forever now.
Yeah,
can
you can't take that.
Yeah.
I see that meme like 40 times.
Yeah. I've never.
You're late for work. I am sorry.
I also understand the other video. I also can.
Yes,
both. Yeah.
To me, I feel like if she's not just that they're her people, like I don't know her personally, none of us do, right? Like maybe she has people in her life who are getting deported, and she's
Well, her
sad.
grandparents were immigrants from Mexico.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, maybe she has people that work around her, that work for her, that are in her organization, that are a part of her team or whatever, and these people are getting deported, right?
For sure.
Maybe that makes her sad. Maybe somebody told them that was happening. We don't know, right? So she could be sad for a very legitimate reason outside of a political one.
Yeah.
Just saying that, I'm sad for all Mexicans, period, or whatever, right? That I think that was a Mexican flag she had in the corner, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the other side of it, yes, some really dark stuff has happened with illegal criminals in the United States, right? And there has been things that those people were talking about, right? So you can understand both sides of it, right? And obviously the White House seems like they threw in a colored person. I don't know if that person was Indian or Mexican or what that person was, but they threw somebody in there. So it seems like it's done intentionally, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that I think you can have sympathy for somebody. Maybe that's what you can relate to in your life, right? And then at the same time, it doesn't take away from the fact that there has been violent crimes that have happened in the United States. And a lot of that had to do with illegal aliens, right?
Yeah, the one you're talking about, her daughter was only 12.
Her daughter was only 12?
Yeah, and she was killed. So her name's Alexis Nungareya.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
No, I mean,
her daughter was so young.
Taking the political aspect out of it, right? Like that was released by the White House. You can put yourself in her shoes, man. If you lose your kid, right, and then you see somebody on social media crying about certain things, you're gonna be like,
"Yeah, you're
what are you crying about?" Right, 100%. Like you're crying because you might know somebody that's getting deported. Like I lost my kid.
Yeah.
Even if you're her, tweet or put up a picture and write a description under it. Don't do that.
So even in the video, she's like, "I've tried everything. There's nothing." So this was like kind of seemed like a last.
This didn't help.
You know, it didn't help her. It didn't help her look good.
You know what? But like during the Obama administration, people are getting deported as well. People get deported. They were getting deported during the Biden
happens all
administration.
Every administration, people get.
Yeah, they get deported all the time, right? I feel like what Trump does is a lot of what he does is optics.
Were they all mass deportations though?
You can label them however the hell you want, but they people get deported all the time.
Yeah.
Right? He just, because of the optics of social media, like he's not using commercial planes, he's using military planes. He's making everything an issue.
He's not shy about it. He's saying it out loud.
Yeah, and he says it out loud.
He's not doing it behind closed doors, right?
You can Google how many people were deported during Obama's presidency, right? I believe it's somewhere before this. I don't know how much he's going to end up with. I think Obama's first.
Yeah,
I think he set a record.
I've heard that a number of times.
Yeah. So like it's not like it's just because it's being so publicized and it's something that he ran on, right? The migrant crisis.
Yeah.
Which is something that we were seeing videos of people just crossing over into the States.
Yeah.
Right?
So many of them.
Yeah. And
a lot of those guys are Indian too.
You saw these sanctuary cities. You saw the whole issue with
Obama's was
go ahead.
So Obama's was the less out of the most of them. So 12 million during Clinton, 10 million during Bush, 5 million during Obama.
So look at that. Clinton's a Democrat. Obama's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Bush is a Republican, right?
Yeah.
So combined, both of those 17 million, right? According to that. So it's not like this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
People just because it's not highlighted, people act like, well, this doesn't happen and it's only boogeyman Trump that's doing it, right? Like it's just because he likes to publicize everything because it's, in his eyes, it's a win in his book.
Yeah.
Right? So he wants.
Social media is bigger now than it was then too.
It gets bigger, I feel like, every year, every day.
Every day.
Right?
Have you guys seen those though?
What?
The Indian people getting caught at the border, the Mexico-U.S. border?
No.
Those videos are jokes. Yeah.
Really?
They're just getting caught and it's like, where are you going? I'm going to New York, California. You guys haven't seen them? They're all like Indian.
No.
So speaking of social media, there was this Christian blogger from California, Amanda Riley. So she started a blog called Lymphoma Can Suck It.
What the hell?
Yeah. So she said she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, so she can suck it. So documented her.
What do you think it was?
I don't know.
Just to document her cancer journey. So she received it got a lot of like recognition from like celebrities and stuff too. So on top of emotional support, she received gifts, help with travel, things for her kids, babysitting, financial help for all the medical treatment. So she never had cancer.
What?
What the hell?
She never had cancer.
There was warranted.
So ABC Studios released a 4-part docuseries called Scamanda. Yeah. So which at the end it led to her arrest and conviction. So she pleaded guilty to fraud. What happened was like it was just things that weren't adding up. And one of her like close friends ended up hiring a private investigator that spent 5 years unraveling. So she did this for 4 to 5 years.
How much money did she end up making?
So she only got $105,000. Yeah, I just assumed she had gotten more.
Yeah.
So she had to pay it all back. She got 5 years in jail, but she just got released in December to a reentry center. Is that like a halfway house?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that wild.
That's crazy.
That's
I feel
pretty-
like 5 years in jail is kind of a lot.
I think
She didn't end up serving it. She served 2, and then now she's out.
the money doesn't seem like it's a crazy amount. I know
Yeah.
105,000 sounds like, but if it was in the millions, she would have got more.
Yeah.
Right. Like I feel like, but still, at the end of the day, man, somebody's gonna use it. Yeah, somebody's use a terminal illness and just to
And like it says specifically, she was a Christian blogger, like religion backed behind her.
Yeah.
Think like credibility.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, these days people will use things like that for you to assume that they're credible. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You never know where somebody's mind's at. But that's a wild story for sure.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. That's all we have for off topic.
Okay, let's move on to the question segment. So I'll start off with this. It's kind of like a scenario hypothetical question. So you have 1,000 grapes in front of you, and you get $50,000 for each grape that you eat. But one of the grapes out of the 1,000 is poisonous, and it will kill you if you eat it. So how many would you eat?
Yeah. Hold on. You get $50,000. You get 1,000 for each one that you
No,
eat.
there's 1,000 grapes. For each one you eat, you get $50,000.
Okay.
But one of the grapes is poisonous and will kill you if you eat it. So it's kind of like a
Yeah. I get it.
yeah.
It's a risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But one in
One
a
in a
thousand. One in a thousand.
That's like a
It's
Yeah.
like, would you take those chances
Yeah.
for
0.1%
that
chance, right?
amount
Yeah.
of money per
Yeah.
grape?
And the poison, like it'll kill you.
Yeah.
there's
It'll
no
kill you.
cure.
No.
Okay.
50,000 per grape. There's no cure. 50,000 per grape.
I think I'm eating
You
like
can eat 1,000 grapes though.
No, but no, you're not trying to eat 1,000, right? You're just trying to get a little lucky.
1,000 grapes.
You're taking a chance on it?
Big bowl.
Yeah.
1,000 grapes.
Right?
What if you just eat the top layer?
That's probably where the poison is.
Wouldn't they be in the bottom?
Why? It
Lower?
knows you're not going to get there.
Who's it?
The person that set up the experiment.
No, okay.
You can't think about it logically. It's
Yeah,
like
you gotta
take the
think about
risk
it
or
logically.
not.
That's how you.
can't.
That's how you think.
I
about
think
it.
out of 1,000, I'm gonna eat like
You're getting 50,000 per
I'm gonna eat
grape, right?
5.
I'm doing it. Let's get to 1 million, man. I'll
Right?
eat 20 of them.
Damn,
I'll
you're
eat 5.
risking it. 20's high.
20 out of 1,000? I'm thinking
500 grand is
My
enough.
logic
I
is-
think 10.
the poison one's gonna be dead center.
I would
The
just start
bottom.
looking at like colors.
Just how I feel.
Just
I think it's going to be like
I would look at
top
colors.
row and on the left.
It's funny how none of us are saying 0.
I would say 0. Nobody asked me, but I wouldn't eat none.
You gonna eat
She's
one?
like, I love life. We're like,
Why would you risk your life? Like you
For
could
what?
die for $50,000.
It's like playing the lottery, man.
No, it's not. You're not gonna die if you play
No,
the
no,
lottery.
the odds wise, like people play
But
the
hey,
lottery.
like things happen, man. People die all the time, right? Like at least you were trying to make money.
Yeah.
Get rich or die trying.
Yeah, no, I think I would eat 5.
Yeah.
Five seems like
good
a
answer.
quick.
I
you
think
know?
I'm getting to 1 million at least. Otherwise, it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, but what if you do just
$9.99?
the first one is just poisonous? Then you just died for nothing.
Well, we would analyze, right? Like, can we do it in teams?
No,
Like I think we could sit there and look at colors and think of which one's heavier.
no, you
like
have
that
no idea. There's
Right.
no way
Get the
to.
Are they
Trudeau.
purple grapes? Are they green?
Oh my God.
You can't
I
tell.
don't even like grapes.
Really? But if I had
No,
to pick
they're all right.
purple, for sure, it's better than green.
I would think so too, because of the color.
No, I'm just saying taste wise.
No, I wasn't saying taste wise. I was trying to think of like
Which one would have poison?
Which one you can tell. Some of them.
No, you
probably
can't
which one's
tell
darker.
at all. You
If it's a
can't tell.
green grape, maybe
You
It's
can't
dipped
tell. I
in
think we
clear
could
liquid.
tell.
You guys can't tell.
It's clear poison.
Huh?
Can't tell.
Clear
I'm
poison.
eating.
You guys are making
20.
variables. We're trying to decipher.
I'm eating
how we
20.
go about this.
Logic. It's
I'm eating 20. I'm
There's
going
logic.
for 1 milli.
You're nuts.
Let's go to the next.
5, 250 grand. It's
We'll
good.
do one
Indy's
more.
gonna die on number 19.
20 out of 1,000.
All right.
I'm not dying.
We can't. All right. Next question.
Okay, you are offered a pill that increases your intelligence by 50%, but if you take it, it'll also permanently remove your hair, including your eyebrows. Would you do it? Would you take it?
I thought you were going to say it, but it'll kill you faster.
Yeah.
I would do it.
Increases your intelligence by 50%. Yeah, done.
I would do
No
Not
hair
even
at
thinking about
all.
it. Yeah, let
Draw it on, wear a wig.
Yeah, tattoos.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I do it.
That's easy.
Yeah, that's so easy. Increase your intelligence. It opens up a lot of opportunity.
Because you can just build a business. You
Make
can
money.
You can create
build a-
something that makes the
eyebrow
best wigs in the
tattooing
world.
business. Yeah.
And just have that. And you can
Yeah.
market it.
Right. Yeah.
I think I would do that.
I would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be the
bald.
next Elon.
Huh?
I could be bald.
Well, you're leaning into this a little too much, right? Like, I know it works for us, right?
I've talked about Amber Rose before. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
But without my beard, that's crazy. I like my beard.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're way 50% smart. Hold on. If somebody really dumb takes it, it's not really worth your while, right? Because then you become average.
Average.
Well, she's not asking a really dumb person, I hope. She's asking us.
Oh, and we think we're not that.
It's also less maintenance. You never have to maintain anything. Any of your hair.
That's a positive spin, right?
What would you
Glass
do?
is half full.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Simmer's down
After
for
hearing all
He's like,
that.
"God damn."
First, you were going to say no, right?
Because I feel so attached to my hair, but like it makes sense. Like obviously that's a better trade off.
Yeah.
50% more intelligent.
Remember, we research everything. We're not experts on anything, and we encourage you to do the same. And with that, we'll catch you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.